Hey everybody, JamieStarr here for the New World News Network. In this episode, I want to cover this article about Target cries uncle, begs shoppers to come back. And, we saw Target was one of the first places to implement this ridiculous bathroom rules, and I don't even remember which way they were trying to go with it. It just seems like such a non-issue to me, but Target is launching a first-of-its-kind one-day sale to try and boost back shopper traffic amid a boycott over its bathroom policy. The retail is offering a 10% discount on everything in its stores and online Sunday, calling it the Target Run Day. It marks the first time Target has ever offered a 10% discount both in stores and on its website. The sale comes after Target last week reported its first quarterly traffic decline in more than 2 years. This is what happened when you blindly hop on social justice bandwagon without consulting your customers, understanding their mores, or giving a damn what they think. Serves Target right. Drive by any Target store since the transgender policy went into effect and witness an ocean of empty spaces in their parking lots. Target's same-store transactions, which is how traffic is measured, fell 2.2% in the second quarter. Overall fell 7.2 to 16.2 billion. In the second quarter, our number one challenge was traffic, which affected sales in all of our merchandise categories. Target said last week on a call with analysts. Shopper traffic is falling amid a boycott over Target's new policies announced earlier this year. That welcomes customers to use any bathroom or fitting room that matches their gender identity. And, here we also see, in terms of all this crazy gender identity stuff, New York City lets you choose from 31 different gender identities. We also saw this is the same crazy list that Facebook is now letting everyone choose from. And it's so ridiculous because some of these seem like they're covering just the same thing over and over. The Rebel Media just did a real funny video on this, as other people have. And this is just basically saying that now all of them are protected classes, but male and female are also in there, so everything's a protected class, I guess. It's just going to get messy. That's all it's going to be. And it really just opens the door for people to kind of, in this sociopathic type of way, just say whatever works for that moment in time. I mean, some of it, I'm gender bender, two-spirit, third sex, gender gifted. Like, what the fuck? You can't even put words to this. Someone who identifies as genderqueer, for example, is a person whose gender identity is neither man or woman, is between or beyond genders, or is some combination of genders, because it's a spectrum, and I'm beyond the spectrum. I mean, what sort of... There's such a level of narcissism and being self-absorbed without being self-aware with some of this. A gender bender is someone who bends, changes, mixes, or combines society's gender conventions by expressing elements of masculinity and femininity together. Is this what happens when you become one of these, like... there are the phases of societies, and you go from, like, industrious societies to, like, a service-based society, then into a intellectual-based society, and this is what happens where people become so entrenched in a concept that it then sort of develops its own language that they're now trying to push on everyone, where they've, like, I've looked into this topic so deep that I've had to create a new language for this topic. And now I'm going to push my redefinition of gender upon everyone. And that's what's going on. It's a branch off of Marxism, except in each of these little categories, it is reaching out its tentacles into society. So the Commission's legal guidance on gender identity protections under the New York City human rights law addresses situations in which individuals intentionally and repeatedly target transgender and non-gender conforming people. Accidentally misusing a transgender person's preferred pronoun is not a violation of the law and will not result in a fine. The Commission issued this guidance last year so that employers and individuals understand what the law says and to ensure that every transgender individual in New York City is treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. And I think it's like a $20,000 fine if you go against it or whatever. It's ridiculous. So that's what's going on in the world of trans issues. I suppose I have another article I can tie into all of this. Let me just try to find it first. There's a new study on sexual orientation. People are not born this way. Sexual orientation is not fixed. New U.S. study. So basically goes through what we already know, and then it also gets a lot into the trans issues, and basically saying that, you know, transitioning is not actually changing your gender, it's just a plastic surgery changing some body parts. Let's see. In reviewing the scientific literature, we find almost nothing is well understood when we seek biological explanations for what causes some individuals to state that their gender does not match their biological sex. They strongly advocate caution in resorting to drastic medical treatments such as sex reassignment surgery for people identified or identifying as transgender. This is especially true in children whose sexuality is mutable and for whom such treatments may do more harm than they warn. There's little scientific evidence for therapeutic value of interventions that delay puberty or modify the secondary sex characteristics of adolescence. Although some children may have improved psychologically well-being if they are encouraged and support in their cross-gender identification, the paper said, there's no evidence that all children who express gender atypical thoughts or behavior should be encouraged to become a transgender. Sexual orientation and gender identity resist explanation by simple theories. There is a large gap between the certainty which beliefs are held about these matters and what a sober assessment of science reveals. In the face of this complexity and uncertainty, we need to be humble about what we know and do not know. So, some feared an angry response from the more militant elements of the LGBT community. Others feared an angry response from more strident elements of religiously conservative communities. More bothersome, however, is that some feared reprisals of their own universities for engaging such controversial topics. Regardless of the report's content, a sad statement about academic freedom. So, while all of this stuff is being pushed, there's very little science to back up the claims they try to make about it. And, you know, this is also going to be the claim made when pedophiles, like the pedophiles that write at Salon and everyone else come out. You know, Canada legalized bestiality, so for anyone who says pointing to the normalization of homosexuality is, you know, not a slippery slope towards pedophilia and bestiality, I just say you have to look at the rationales you're using, because the rationales will set precedent. If you want to be gay and just say two grown men in a free country in the privacy of their own bedroom can do whatever they want to do, fine, full support. I back that, because you're dealing with it in a purely legal context. You're a free person, you make your own choices, it's the privacy of your own home. Whatever you do in the privacy of your own home in a free country is up to you. You could say the same thing, I don't care if you're two guys fucking smoking pot out of someone's pipe or sucking off each other's pipes. It makes no difference at that level. But the moment you start saying these falsehoods like, well, people are born this way and we have to accept them and who they are and embrace who they are, then you got to ask, okay, well, when are you going to draw a line with saying that? Because you have some people who are naturally sociopaths, so should we allow them to naturally be who they are on the inside and go around causing harm to everyone else? No. Some people will claim that being a pedophile is just who they are and we should embrace and accept it. No, you can't. But when you go with these rationales, you open up a floodgate. So, you know, that's my position on the whole gay thing. I've said it over and over. I don't like how any of this stuff gets used politically. The left takes these little political identity groups and uses them as a club against each other, against their enemies, against whoever's causing a problem for them at the moment. So, that's what I wanted to cover as far as all the LGBTQAI plus stuff goes. So subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, everyone.